What's up, everybody? Welcome to In Love with Horror. I'm AJ.
And I'm Christy.
And y'all, this is our Evil Season 4, Episode 5 recap / review. Now, we did do a video recently, it was probably like a few days ago by now, right? Where we talked about episodes 1 through 4 and kind of like how we felt about Evil so far with Season 4. So go check out that video if you haven't watched it, because that lets you know kind of how we're feeling going into this episode, Episode 5, How to Fly an Airplane. So with that, let's jump into this episode. Shout out to TV Fanatic. We found this website, TV Fanatic, where they actually gave like main plot points recap of episode 5. So we're going to use that as a guide to like walk through this episode, and we'll talk about some of these main plot points, and then give you our overall review of this episode and what we think, what happened moving forward. So with that, let me go ahead and switch over to this website, and we'll start with the opening of this episode, where we learn officially that Andy was committed. So we see Kristen and the girls riding in the car, and she's being the rock in that moment, right, where she's telling the girls like, hey, like everything's gonna be all good, even though in the inside we saw in the later scene, like she crumbling on the inside. 'Cause that's a lot, to have your spouse committed for. I think it was 2 months that they said. Like, that's a long ass
they
time.
will revisit it in 2 months. Hopefully,
right. Well, true. Yeah, there's that aspect.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I feel like that was a pretty emotional scene. And then of course, we got I think it was during that time that we got the call, right? That
because she was.
It was an emergency. Yeah.
Right, she was in the bathroom at that point in time. Also, I want to mention that during that scene, we got another glimpse at the grief demon from the previous episode.
Yep.
And he was trying to make his way to her side.
To that side. He trying to get up in that side.
And when she got up to answer the phone, he was like, dude, where you going? I'm trying to get in there.
And, which I thought was interesting, because with Father Ignatius, he was still able to get into him. And Father Ignatius, he routinely said he was trying to keep himself busy with work, which I feel like in that moment,
it was very similar to what she was doing.
I'm surprised that the grief demon couldn't get
latch
in.
On.
But maybe because, the other assessors have become close friends. It's almost like support. That
she wasn't quite where he was, because he was alone.
Right,
in his
exactly.
Grief.
Yep.
Yeah,
he was alone in his grief. Yep. But she's got support, and we see that later, where they ask her like, "Hey, you good? Like, you don't gotta be here." Mm-hmm. Them saying like, "Hey, everything's gonna be all right." But she gets this call that it was exorcism gone bad, and that I forgot who this other priest was, but apparently this dude went rogue.
Well, I don't think he was very important, his name anyway.
Right. Yeah.
He went around the protocols.
Yep.
Which is, we send Ben, Kristen, and David in first, and then we decide whether or not we need an exorcism.
Yep.
But
so
he just went guns blazing.
Yep. They were super pissed because they were like, oh, it went bad. Now it's like a liability. They hot. And so that's how Kristen ends up getting the call. She's got to lead the girls and to go check in on what's happening with this exorcism. And I thought that was kind of cool to see an incident where a priest kind of went rogue essentially, and was trying and I like his thought process of I saw the situation and I saw I needed help. I was just trying to help. You know what I'm saying? I get what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
But obviously you gotta take the necessary precautions. But obviously the exorcism went bad, it wasn't working out, and she was getting worse, and they went to the hospital. The lawyers talking liability, yada yada yada.
Yeah, because she slit her wrists.
Right. So now they got to start investigating to see what happened to Vicky, I think is the woman's name. And so they end up finding out from the husband, because she had this really bad infection rash on her back that looked super nasty,
which we never get answers for.
That's true. We did not get a clear answer for that.
We don't.
And it's like we said in our recap, y'all. If you watched it, go check that out. But one thing the show does is always leave
things in the air,
details in the air of not giving a full explanation, a full closure of the case.
Yeah. I mean, we're having 4 seasons in, and I think this episode makes me think that it's really not about the cases. And I said this last time too, but even more so this episode. It really is just about David, Kristen, and Ben. It doesn't really matter what the case is it solved or not solved. It's really just about how they interpret or perceive what's happening
Right.
around them.
Right.
And I just feel like, I don't know, the cases are just a fun way for them to explore these things, these dynamics and these nuances.
Like you would like a better balance of, explore the characters and stuff, but let's get some closure on the
I think
cases,
for me, I do, just because those things interest me.
Right.
Like I like us going on this adventure to investigate something unknown. Mm-hmm. And but at the same time, I need some resolution as well.
Yep. No, I understand that. But jumping back to it, they go and invest what they call like the crash pad for flight attendants and stuff, like hang out between layovers and stuff like that.
Sorry.
Oh man, you should have brought you some water up here or something.
I know I did. Sorry.
But so they go there trying to find her uniform because they were like, the airline or something like handles the dry cleaning. They were thinking like, oh, there's a new detergent, the chemicals messing with her. They want to check her uniform. They go check the uniform, and obviously there's other crew flight attendants there, and they get like the lowdown on like, this whole ghost pilot. There was there's a flight that went down like over the sea. All the crew died, the passengers and everything, and there's this idea that you see this ghost pilot, and they try to say like he's trying to bring down the flight. But it's like an indication of like, hey, it's a lot of turbulence, your flight can go down. Yeah. And that's like foreshadowing for something that happens later, of course. But they also learn about the fact that she had this like relic that she was trying to
sell on the black market.
Right, yep. And I thought it was funny because they were like, she was a mule, and they instantly was like, oh, she's like
heroin? You said heroin?
Yeah. Like, nah, nothing like that, man. Just relics and shit, like ancient shit. But she was like, then they learned like, oh yeah, she had this relic that they thought like, that she was like, oh, this shit is, I gotta get this shit back. Like, this shit is hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like she was nervous about it. So then they're like, where's this relic? Oh, she had it in a bag or whatever. They go to the husband. Turns out he's got it in the garage. And, he was like, hey, she told me not to show this to nobody and stuff like that. So that's when they learn about the relic. Now, I don't know if at that time, did they know what it was? It wasn't until they met with
it was
people,
when they
right?
took it to, they had it when they went to the church and those people were there. The entity. No.
Yeah, the entity, which is, the I'm gonna go back up because I think that priest was up here. Yeah, you can kind of see him there. That scene that happens later. But there is a better look at that priest. I think his name is Dominic or something like that.
Dominic, it is.
Yeah, Father Dominic. So obviously the entity is there, and obviously they know about this relic, and then like this is supposed to be a piece of the cross that Christ died on. You know what I'm saying? They're obviously David's like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Like this is a major big deal, and that's when they learn, hey, we want y'all to escort this relic to
and I
the Vatican
really
personally
did not like that because obviously they don't realize until they get there that it was really just to see what would happen to them while they have the relic.
Yep.
Like they were like, oh, why didn't you come on the same flight with us?
Right. Yep. And they pieced it together once they got there.
Like
right?
obviously we're just guinea pigs. Oh yeah, for this.
Right. Yep. You didn't want to fly with us because you're scared we might crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they take it. They were supposed to be they were told they were going to the Vatican, but they really were like a espionage type situation.
Yep. They were really going to, and here's the shot here of that that relic, the cross.
It's like
they're really going to
tunnels
see
underneath it.
Yep. So they get off the flight. They get escorted by basically like the Vatican Secret Service. All these priests. They get escorted. Obviously, they got like little comedy bits throughout that escort stuff. Yeah, it was Kristen
ridiculous.
Being extra. She always got to be doing a whole lot, be extra. But they pull up on some weird tunnels. They walk through these weird tunnels, and they come and pull up on where this relic is stored. So it doesn't even look like it's like at the Vatican. They got in some other weird secret location.
Yeah.
I guess that's to throw people off.
It's under the Vatican because he said it's escape. It's like an escape tunnels for the Pope.
Oh, okay. But anyway, and here's the shot here. They pull up.
Well, sorry. Before we get to that part, there's a moment where Kristen, because the priests and David included did the water, whatever you call that thing when you Google like this, before they stepped into the room. And obviously Ben just walked on by it. But Kristen thought about it. And then she gets all kind of like excited a little bit when she enters into the room. And then Ben says like, you are still so fucking Catholic or something like that. He said,
right. Yeah, that's true.
And like,
because there was that moment of like, damn, a piece of Christ's cross. That's major.
Really big.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but I think they did a really good job of setting the scene in that room.
Yeah.
Like even it's like, my own dad has gone to like Bethlehem and like all these holy cities before.
Right.
He's done that in Jerusalem and stuff like that. And so I've seen photos of like the tomb and stuff like that he visited while he was there. And you could just tell like it seems like what a holy place is like, right? Like everyone is in reverence of where they are. And I don't know, that was kind of like the tone that I got from that scene. I thought that was really cool. Like the way that it kind of like felt like, oh, like I'm standing in the room where Christ's cross is type of thing. Yep. It was really cool to me. I like that scene a lot.
I agree with that. Like even for someone who's so like atheist, like even it had an impact.
You can tell that, okay, this might not be a holy place to me, but I can see how this could be impactful to these people who believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that we didn't mention was the, simultaneously while, Kristen and them are in Rome, doing this stuff with the cross and the peace and stuff like that. The girls are back at home, left alone because Yasmin obviously all of a sudden had an emergency with her mom,
which I thought was really convenient. Yep. Obviously, this had to been some kind of like weirdest thing I've ever witnessed before in my life. But like,
evil is at work. That's why
it is at work. Yep. And like there was like a funny moment where Yasmin was talking to Lynn, and she's like, "Oh, she's got like girlfriends and boyfriends." And I'm like, she put all her mama's business out in the street.
She's put all her mama's business out there. I'm like, damn, she's telling everything right now. But so Yasmin ends up leaving, and then you just had the girls there by themselves, and three of the girls was using the blow dryer, and it blew the circuits.
Yeah.
And then they went down to the basement. There was a big ass hole in the basement.
Yeah, I'm like, why is
and all these bats flew out?
There? It was a lot of bats.
Yeah, it didn't really make sense. Like something definitely going on.
Well,
with that.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if it has something, which the way this show is, we may never find out.
Right.
Have something to do with what Andy has been like. Because that one scene, I don't know what episode it was now, but when he was like working in that extra attachment that they're building, and they had all those like demons in there.
Demon deep.
Yeah. I don't know. I wonder if there's some sort of connection like to that. Like, did he like build this hole and not know it, or something? Or what something's down that hole or whatever that he might have unknowingly did or created or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Either that or, just because there's so many people at play trying to do weird stuff with the family. Like, it's got to have some sort of history with Leland or something evil or something like that. But you had all these bats, and then they, obviously got scared. They got locked out of the house. They tried calling a neighbor. They didn't answer or something like that. I guess they couldn't reach Yasmin again either. So they ended up having to call Cheryl because they was like, well, we don't know who else to call. And, Kristen was on the flight, I think, at the time. So they couldn't reach her either. So they ended up calling Cheryl. And, of course, she with Leland watching the baby. She's about to leave, and she's going to leave the baby at first. And then Leland's like, take that baby with you because he can't stand the baby. So she took the baby with her, and obviously it was cutting back and forth between these two storylines. So I'm gonna wrap up the storyline before we jump back to the Rome joint.
That's fine.
Well, because what was the final thing it ended on was the Cheryl thing. So okay, I'll go back to Rome and I'll come back then.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go back to Rome real quick with Kristen and the team. So they go to put that piece in to the cross, but it doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit.
And so they're like, oh, okay, this is a counterfeit. Yep. So they found out that it was a counterfeit relic. And then everyone was kind of disappointed. You could tell even the priest was disappointed.
Yeah, they were disappointed.
Yeah.
I think even David was disappointed.
Yeah. Mm.
But also, we talked about how they were basically expendable.
Yep.
They got what they wanted. They wanted to see if this piece of wood fit this cross. It didn't. So they were like, all right, bye.
Yep.
They got, and it's funny, because earlier they're packing all this stuff because they're thinking they're going to be there for a while. They get to visit the Vatican, but they don't get to do none of that stuff. They just there, see if this fits. All right, get your asses back on this plane and get back.
They were literally there for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Left. And even when Chris was trying to get there, she's trying to get a picture of the Coliseum and all that
Yeah,
shit.
and they were like, nope.
And they was like, afterwards. Like,
and
they ain't even got time for afterwards.
Ben,
you know
he's hungry. Like, I
Yep.
need something to eat. I'm like, I hope they get his man something to eat. He was like, I want to get something to eat before we get on this plane.
Right.
But, like, they don't really care about that.
They don't got time for it. So once they find it's counterfeit, they get sent back to the airport. They get on the plane. And obviously, they still got the seat for that relic because they're just going to take it back.
Yeah.
So they put the relic box in between David and Kristen. They go on the plane, takes off. And weird shit starts happening. The first thing was the light above the relic box was turned on and shit. And and I think you always say this, right? Like, Kristen's just
she
so
gets
oblivious
on
to
my nerves.
shit. Yeah.
I'm like, what else do you need, ma'am? It's light keep popping on. Dude, this is the only light coming on, and it's like right here on the relic box. Like, that's not weird,
right.
Like, she didn't even question it, right? She just goes, oh, the light's it's broken.
Yep.
Like, she doesn't even stop to ask questions or anything. That's what irritates me about her sometimes.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, it's just like you just be completely ignorant and oblivious to like what's going on. And then, of course, Ben trying to explain things. So, because all of a sudden, they hit like crazy turbulence right after that part. And there's like demons shrieking coming through the intercom.
Well, before all that happened, David got a call.
Oh, it was right before that? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So, because it happened while he was on the call, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they come to David and it's like, hey, you got a call. And David was like, well, I got a call. He goes to get the call, and it's Father Dominic. Who tells him, hey, the relic wasn't the piece of wood. It's the actual box itself. The box was some sort of demonic box.
Yeah.
And so, Father Dominic's telling David, hey, you got to destroy it. It can't make it back to New York.
Yeah.
Because he said something
part of the plan.
Yeah, he said it's part of the ultimate corruption or something like that. Like, it's part of this big evil corruption plan. They needed that box.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't answer us in the episode, but it did get me thinking, right? Because she obviously got this box from somebody.
Yeah.
Who was she delivering it to?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Who was she delivering it to?
Yep.
And also, how did she get it?
Yep.
And because like even Father Dominic was like, well, I don't know. Like no one knows anything.
And we talked about this, right, with other episodes. Are we gonna ever revisit this?
Probably not.
We probably won't. And I feel like that's an important piece.
Yeah.
Of the story. It's like, hey, this woman got it from so and so.
Where is it going?
Yep. And it's going to this person. We got to track them down. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I feel like sometimes when you have shows that are like, I'm going to call them each episode's like case based instead of like main story based, you lose stuff like that where it can make it fun to like, let's investigate the threads, get the puzzle pieces, and let's put it together. You know what I'm saying? Now
that's why I said I feel like it's just that this is not what that show this show's about.
Yep.
Even though that's what we want it to be about.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But it's weird because at the same time it's like they should, right? Because we have this big map, right, with all the different sigils and stuff like that.
Right. Yep.
So sometimes it seems like we're putting pieces together, and then sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
It's like, okay, so what are you trying to do? Are we putting that together? Are we tracking down the sigils, or are we not tracking down the sigils, or what? You know what I'm saying? Like it just seems like it doesn't really have any consistency.
You would think the sigil thing would be still a very big part of each episode, really.
Yeah, because were there sigils on the box? We don't know.
Right. Yeah. and I feel like that line about the ultimate corruption already being in New York, the Eve already being in New York.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like that's the big tease, I guess, for like,
right,
whatever's getting built up in New York.
I don't know.
Obviously, to deal with Antichrist and stuff.
Because how many episodes we have? 14?
There's 14 episodes. This was the 5th one.
maybe they will start to put the puzzle pieces together.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe they've given us all the pieces. Well, they're giving us all the pieces. I imagine we'll probably get a couple more episodes of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then maybe they'll start to put these pieces together. Because I can't imagine that we have all of these things, the entity, the sigil map, Leland and Cheryl and their little cockamamie closet stuff. And the thing that's going on with the baby eggs from the fertility clinic, like all these different things. I can't fathom that we're expected to just pretend like these are just all separate things that don't go together.
Right. Yep, that's right. But going back to the episode, once David gets that call, he's like, "Oh, we got to destroy this box." But the shriek comes in over the intercoms. The demon shrieks. Obviously, Ben's like, "Oh, they're hacking this shit." And Kristen's like, we're over the Atlantic Ocean.
That was the first time she's ever, and I think this is why I like this episode, because I feel like Kristen's defenses against what she sees and believes are coming down. Mm-hmm. Like the first inclination for me was her pausing at the holy water.
Yeah.
And then this, like, usually she'd be like, "Oh yeah," or it could be this. She'll come back with something with Ben. But in this instance, she didn't do that.
Right.
She's like, "Nigga, that don't make no sense."
Right. That shit don't make no sense. And he was like, so obviously Ben had to rationalize it. I think she said it right. Maybe on the plane. He's like, yeah, they could be, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But then, David starts seeing the pilot, the ghost pilot.
Yes.
He starts seeing him. And he did that stupid line.
But before that.
Oh, what?
What pissed me off was he got the call. Mm-hmm. He heard what Father Dominic said.
Yep.
But he sits down and doesn't say anything.
Oh, right. Yep.
He doesn't say nothing until later. Like once he
processes it. Yeah. But even then, though, he's seeing the ghost pilot. And then he's like, I saw something. She's like, "What'd you see?" "I don't know."
Yeah, I'm like, "You don't know?"
They just fucking told you about this ghost captain. Like, why wouldn't, or a ghost pilot? Why would you not be like,
"I see a ghost pilot.
I just saw the pilot. I think that they were talking about."
Yeah.
Why would it be like? And he does that a lot. Where he's like,
"I don't know.
I don't know what I saw."
Yeah.
Motherfucker, like, you do know what you saw. Tell them what you saw. Tell them exactly what you saw.
Yes.
So then they can relate it back to something that already came up.
Yes.
So if he would have been like, Lemire or whatever that dude's name was, "I just saw that dude." "Oh shit, you did?" "Yeah, I just saw him." You know what I'm saying? But anyway, after David's dumb moment, he starts thinking like, "I gotta destroy this box." He's like, "How am I going to destroy this thing?" Then he remembers he got the holy water from
did. Dominic had given him holy water at the Vatican.
Pope blessed. So this is the strongest shit on the planet. You know what I'm saying? If the Pope blessed it,
extra strength
this
holy
shit
water
don't get no much stronger than that. The only thing that might be stronger is if you think about like Demonite, Tales from the Crypt.
Oh yeah,
where they got Jesus' blood.
Jesus' blood.
Maybe that's in this universe. That'd be the only thing that's stronger than that shit. But so David thinks about that. He opens up the carry-on.
Yes.
Good thing he had him to carry on.
I know, right?
Imagine if he had to check in. He'd be like, fuck. We had to just pray. You know what I'm saying? But he pulls out the Pope holy water. He's throwing it on it, and he was going ham. He was going like that. You know what I'm saying? He's really like, he's putting his all into it.
Yeah. It starts to smoke.
Yep. It started to smoke and burn and like disintegrate. And I think you said it. They were like, don't they see this weird shit happening? Like, wouldn't it be like, you just put holy water in this box and it just disintegrated?
Maybe it might be real.
This shit might be real, y'all. But I bet you they won't even bring it up in the next episode.
They might not bring it up. Or Ben's gonna say, "Oh, well, maybe it's some kind of material."
They put chemicals in it. Yeah, it's a certain material. The wood
melt.
burns, or the whatever type of metal it is. It corrodes and melts.
Exactly.
It's a trick box,
right?
You know, trying to hide secrets. I don't know. He'll come up with something.
As soon as it gets done, the turbulence stops.
Yep. And I think after that, now, because before they got on that plane, that's when Kristen was able to talk to the girls, right? Or was it after?
No, it was before.
It was before? Yeah, that's when she, find out what was going on.
Yeah.
And obviously the girls lied and then tell them that Cheryl was there. But that was pretty much the end of the Rome, like them part. It cuts back to, the girls, and obviously, they're keeping it hidden that, Cheryl's there because they know that her mom's not fucking with her like that.
Yeah.
And she is by far one of the most trifling characters I think I've ever seen.
She really is.
And she brings the baby. So she introducing the baby to them. She's saying all this shit like, "Oh, should we tell them the secret?"
Yeah.
And eventually she's like, okay, I'm gonna tell you our secret. It's got to be between us. But this is your brother. You know what I'm saying?
I couldn't believe she did that.
And it's fucked up because it's like she's saying it as if like
It's
Kristen
okay
was
for her to do
cool
that.
with like the surrogacy and all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know. I don't even know how that dynamic is going to play out. But
I don't know.
I hope they get her ass. Like,
Yeah. And like I told you, like I keep waiting for there to be something redeeming about Cheryl. And I assumed that, maybe her taking care of this baby and seeing her grandkids again, she might.
Yeah, there's even that moment where she was crying with them.
Regret what she's done so far and try to change her ways, but no.
But so remember that part in this episode where she was talking to them and she like cried for a little bit?
That's what I'm saying.
Like was that a moment of like her realizing?
I think she really does love these girls.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that she doesn't love them. I don't doubt that she loves Kristen.
Yeah.
But she's just too far gone at this point.
She's just too deep into the shit.
She is.
Yeah. And now
I think her motivations are just really warped.
Yeah. Now, this was in the last episode where they finally kind of mentioned what that liquid IV shit does. Because the whole time I was wondering, like, what is that shit in the jars that she wants?
Mm-hmm.
And Leland dropped like a line, I think in the last episode of like, oh, without that, like, you won't look youthful or something like that.
Yeah.
So obviously it's some sort of like elixir to like, extend your life type shit. You know what I'm saying? So, obviously that's what she's working for, to like maintain youth and all that good shit. But it was just fucked up. And that's how that's the last part the episode ended on, was like, hey, this is your brother. And the episode ended.
I was like,
there.
it just goes off?
Yeah, that was a weird place to cut it like that, because it makes me wonder, like, when will this ever be revisited again? It might not be another 2 or 3 episodes where like
the kids might say something.
Yeah, and as much as the kids are running their mouth, like, I'd be surprised they're able to like keep this secret. Like,
I don't think they will.
They can't, right? Like, this is way too massive. Yeah.
But going back to the fact that you said things don't come back up. Like, when they were in the car coming back from visiting Andy, I was like, that would have been a great time to be like, do you think it's because of what we thought happened to him?
Right.
Why
last season we brought up Leland. It's Leland. We hear the thing going on in the background of the video.
Why does that not come back into play?
I don't know.
I don't understand that at all. Like,
and because they portray the girls as being ultra smart, so you would think that they would connect those dots.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, that's everything that happened with the episode.
Yeah, that's everything that happened with the episode. So I guess overall thoughts on the episode.
Like I said, I enjoyed this episode more so than the first 4 episodes. I think my thing is that I don't really like Kristen as a character, but this episode made me like her a little bit more. But when it comes to her kids, I do wish she just listened to them a little bit more. Yeah. And maybe she'll start to do that, because that whole dynamic I don't like that. But I'll, seeing her kind of like break down about Andy and like what I mentioned earlier about how I feel about her, maybe starting to like, waver a little bit on her hardness against Catholicism or believing in God or whatnot, or wavering a little bit. So, I'm interested in seeing how that plays out over the next few episodes. Yeah. And it was kind of cool seeing like something actual in action, like the whole holy water on the demon box type thing. I thought that was kind of cool.
That was cool. No, I agree. I did like the episode. Obviously, with all these episodes, I always feel like I wish there was a little bit more like diving into like the lore of things. Like, it would have been cool to even dove into like the history of them obtaining that piece of the cross, or are there other pieces? I think it'd be cool to explore that a little bit more. Then obviously, better communication and stuff like that. But the fact that we got some teases at some bigger things at play with like the ultimate corruption in New York, it's like, okay, that's like a breadcrumb to like the bigger picture of all the shit that's going down with Antichrist, Leland, that whole like, gang of people that work in that corporate.
Also,
in that corporation.
They must also know all that. Like, and so I personally, if I was David, I'd be like, okay, so what is this ultimate plan? Yeah. Like, obviously y'all know about it, so fill me in on it.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like these episodes probably need to be a little bit longer too, because now we're thinking about like, we're thinking about bringing stuff back up. Like, you would think that, Kristen bringing up like, Leland's having this baby, he thinks he's the Antichrist. Like, like David would be wanting to like investigate that shit and like.
But does he know that?
I thought she mentioned that.
She said Leland was having her baby. I mean, like, yeah, but I don't think she ever said that he was the Antichrist, did she?
Well, I thought they made the connection of like 38 days and when's the baby gonna be born 38 days, and he had that vision.
I know he said all that, but I don't know if she ever said the words he's supposed to be the Antichrist. I don't recall that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she might have.
You're thinking David didn't connect those dots or whatever.
Because I feel like he would want more information on that, you know?
But I guess that's the point I'm making is even if he did, is the show going to show that?
Yeah, I don't know.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I said, the case stuff is cool, but it's the last season. So like, maybe in the last few episodes there'll be nothing but main story shit popping off. Like no assessments. It's just we are in deep with the good versus evil shit. We are finding out about Leland, the whole DF corporation, all the players that's in it, the sigils. Like we're going to war basically, like the holy war type shit. You know what I'm saying? Crucifixes, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole nine, like you're gearing up for battle. So since it's supposed to be like the final season. So I would just like to start to see more of those things at play. Not like again, it's not a bad episode. I like the episode. It's just the evil story, and we said this on a recap, it's got so much potential for like a bigger story that you just want to see it in the episodes. Like the cases are cool, but give us more of the meat, like sprinkled in there a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how I feel overall about this episode, Evil. The next episode 6 next week, is going to be called How to Dance in 3 Easy Steps. I don't know what that can mean. That could mean like, video tutorials. Maybe they go to a dance academy. Maybe. I don't even know how that case is going to play out, but they did release the episode title already. The plot hasn't been dropped yet for this, because I think for the episode 5, the plot was like released even I think before the episode came out.
I don't know.
A day or two before or something. So we'll see what the plot point is for that. But that was episode 5, y'all. That's what we think and how we feel about the Evil series overall. I'm interested to see what this next episode is going to be about. And I'm hoping that they'll start to bring up stuff that's been kind of like left on the table from just even within this season, of course, the past seasons. Like start to connect all those dots, the puzzle pieces, the breadcrumbs, start to bring all that as we start to approach the mid-season, because episode 7 will be the midpoint, the halfway point of the season. So I feel like by that point, you got to have the stage set so we can spend the last half like going to war, setting up the stage. You know what I'm saying? Like really going into it like a major finale. I don't want to get to like the last 2 episodes and then we're getting to, the big payoff shit. Like I don't want that to happen, but that's what we think, y'all. Let us know down in the comments. What did you think about episode 5? Did it work for you? What elements did you like? What do you want them to bring up in the next few episodes as we, work our way towards that finale? Drop all that down in the comments below. Again, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to stay tuned in to All Things Horror. We'll see you on the next one. We out.